What do Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general, the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, coming to you with a fairly disappointing post-Thanksgiving Monday. Now, let's talk about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, great day of football, went perfect on my picks that day. Good times with my wife's family. That's kind of a tradition for them. But anyways, then we came home Sunday, got to watch the Falcons game, and this was a must-win for the Falcons. We absolutely had to walk away with a win in this one because the Washington Commies have been on the rise. They had a winning record going into this game. They held tiebreakers over several teams. They are currently, or at least were, I'd have to look again, but they were the wild card spot. Just on the off chance that we did go on this big win streak and needed to get into the postseason via that wild card spot instead of winning the division. So there were a lot of things that we needed to do today that we just didn't do, or I should say yesterday. Now, let's talk about some good things real quick. The passing game, or at least let's go back. The passing defense. A.J. Terrell is looking like an all-pro level again. He covered McLaurin very well. Almost had the second pick of the day, but just really looked good shadowing Terry McLaurin, who is one of the better wide receivers in the league. So we only allowed 148 yards through the air. I definitely thought that we would be giving up at least 215 to 220 yards minimum through the air, given how we played previously, but really good that way. Now, the run defense, which used to be pretty good for about the first 7 games of the year, just decided to crap the bed. Brian Robinson having his best game of the year, getting 105 yards with a 21-yard long, meaning he was just grounding and pounding the entire time. Looked really good doing it from former third-round Alabama prospect. Held Antonio Gibson pretty much to nothing. But just, again, we gave up a ton of yards on the ground. And then as far as passing goes, we had 165 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The interception, again, came at a very crucial time on a tipped pass by Deron Payne at the end. I don't even know. Let me see who picked that off for him. Who got that interception? Kendall Fuller ended up getting the tipped interception. But again, Falcons did what they needed to do at the end of the game to get in scoring position. I do want to emphasize that. Now, we were 13-19 going into that final drive. Our offense was not clicking for most of the game. You'll look at Olamide Zaccheaus. He had 5 receptions for 91 yards with a long of 45. He looked like the best wide receiver, but had a couple of big drops. Drake London, I don't know what the heck we drafted him for. I've said this before in other videos. Charles Cross was right there. He is turning into a solid left tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. Should have taken him to bolster our line. We could have moved Jake Matthews back to right tackle where he's best. Put in Cross, and that would have beefed up our offensive line for the future. Instead, we took a piece that we can't even use this year, and we don't actually know if he's really good in Drake London. We still don't actually know that. He's not separating from defenders all that well, but I don't know if he's getting enough progression through the route because of how quickly Marcus Mariota has to break off from and run to scramble. Now, let's talk about Marcus Mariota real quick. 165 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Again, we talked about that at the end. And then you had him for 49 yards on 6 attempts. Again, he uses his legs to extend the drive sometimes, which helps. Here's my big problem. Caleb Huntley had 1 freaking touch in this entire game. 1 touch for 12 yards. Caleb Huntley, in the time that Cordarrelle Patterson was off the field on IR, looked amazing. He was a breath of fresh air, and we have just forgotten how to use him. We don't know what to do with him now that he's the third running back. We don't know what we're doing with him. He is a breath of fresh air. He's young. He and Tyler Algier should be the run game. Cordarrelle Patterson's not built to be a running back. He's built to be a receiver and a returner, but you're throwing him into a position that he's really not well suited for. I said in order to preserve him for the long run, he needed to move back to wide receiver, and we need wide receiver help. I don't know how difficult it is for Arthur Smith to get that through his head. I don't understand. But anyways, let's talk about the future here. We lost this on that heartbreaking interception. I will post the video. I think I've already posted that in the earlier part of this video. But I was watching live, and just my reaction says it all. We absolutely just crapped the bed there at the end. We decided we were going to turn into the Seattle Seahawks and whatever the heck Super Bowl it was. I think it might have been 48, where they ended up on the goal line. You're a running team with 1 minute left, and you're going to throw the dang ball. You are going to throw the ball 5 yards out with 3 downs to get a touchdown. Running team. I would have much rather seen Tyler Algier get 3 or 4 yards possibly on a run, and then run a little bit more clock off and have 2 plays to get into the end zone and win it on that merit or not. Not this tipped pass BS where you end up giving the ball back to him. Now, granted, we did have the opportunity to get one more possession, which we screwed up on a running into the kicker call, but we were never, with Marcus Mariota as quarterback, we were never ever going to win that game. There was no chance in hell he was going to come back with 35 seconds on the clock to win that game with no timeouts. Not a snowball's chance in hell that was going to happen. So, again, I don't know what the Falcons are thinking at this point. We've had opportunities. This was the best 3-game stretch. Last week, this week, and this coming week, that was the best stretch to give Desmond Ridder, possibly our future, the best chance to succeed. And even now with TJ Watt back, we haven't seen the Pittsburgh game tonight. A lot could happen. People could get hurt. But Pittsburgh, not a great offense. I look for next week to be a very low-scoring affair overall for both teams. We need to win at home, and it needs to be Ridder. It is time. It is well past time. Either he truly sucks in practice, and that's why he's not playing. And if that's the case, we need to move on. Or they're just hard-headed and refuse to move on from Mariota and have the plan to tank us out no matter, come hell or high water. We're not going to evaluate Ridder. We're not going to throw him into a team that's trying to lose games. And again, I don't think these guys are trying to lose games. I think our team is actively trying to win right now. I think they are definitely trying to win the division. Because guess what? All of this said, even with this loss, this must win so that we have still an outside shot at possibly getting into the wild card, which we are not going to win the first round of the playoffs no matter what happens. But all of this to get into the first round of the playoffs. And now we don't have a wild card entry anymore. There's almost zero chance of that happening. But we can still win the division because guess what? Your boy called it. Cleveland came away with the win. It was ugly, and they shouldn't have come away with the win. But Cleveland came away with the win in Cleveland over Tampa Bay, which now, with all of that said for the Falcons, as bad as this past game looked in terms of coaching, in terms of decision-making, in terms of Marcus Mariota still not being the guy, only putting up 13 points, being in bad situations, in spite of all of that, we are still in a freaking division race. We are still second in the division. We are technically tied in wins with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have a bye coming up in the near future, but, we are tied for wins. And let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just real quick. I said I thought the Browns was a trap game. Saints, I now think they're going to win that game because the Saints just look pitiful. It is in Tampa Bay, and it's the night game. That may be Monday night. I can't tell. 12-5, that may be Monday Night Football. Let's just take a look at the calendar. Yep, Monday Night Football this coming week will be Tampa Bay versus Saints at Tampa Bay. So that's a winnable game, but Tampa, you never know. Saints might actually show up. They might wake up this coming week. Winnable game for them. 49ers. They go to 49ers. I don't think they win that. They play the Bengals. Don't think they win that. Cardinals starting to have a little bit of life on Christmas Day. The Christmas Day or Christmas night game is at the Cardinals, so that could be a tough game for them. Panthers are probably going to win that one, though the Panthers have life in them. Sam Darnold came back this past week. Didn't play particularly well, but with D'Onta Foreman and a good offensive line and a basically evolving and improving defense, Carolina all of a sudden looks good. They're still in the division race with 4 wins. And then they play us, the Falcons, in Atlanta. That may end up being the game that decides the NFC South. And again, I have no clue how that's going to go. That game will probably be flexed into a 4 o'clock spot if I had to guess. We're just going to have to wait and see. This is still a tough division to win because all the teams are relatively bad, and we just don't know on any given Sunday what's going to happen. We have the Steelers, we have the Saints, we have the Ravens, Cardinals, and the Bucks. That's our remaining games. Tell me out of that, which of these games would have been the most ideal situation to put Desmond Ridder in? I know which one it was. It was the Bears 2 games ago, but we didn't do that. We played Mariota. We won that game. I'm not going to complain about a win, but Mariota still didn't look good in that game. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, but he didn't look good through the air. I want a quarterback that looks good through the air and can lean on the other running backs to get the ground game going. So, yeah, I'm disappointed this Monday. I'm frustrated with the team. All you got to do is watch my reaction video on my shorts to see how I felt about it in person. It was a very disappointing, very, very disappointing day as a Falcons fan. I'm glad nobody got seriously hurt up in Washington. I'm really, really worried about that with that field. It didn't look too bad. I think the groundskeepers are doing a little bit better now over the last season since they realized that people have been basically taking a dump on their management style. I'm sure they don't appreciate that from a professional standpoint. But, guys, that's all I got for you. It's a disappointing Monday. Let me know what you guys think about it. Falcons, I don't know that we're going to be winning this division. If we're not, and we don't think we have a good shot at it, we need to be evaluating for the future. Yes, we can still be competitive. Yes, we can still build a winning culture. Yes, we can still try and win these games. I'm not going to try and tank. I've seen what tanking does for us. It does nothing. We've been tanking for the last 5 years. It's done nothing for us. Build the winning culture. We kind of have started that this year. Try and win the games, but do it with the future talent. Give them game experience. Stop going with the past. Move freaking forward. Mariota is not the answer. I appreciate Mariota for what he's done. I appreciate him being a stopgap, but that's all he is a stopgap quarterback. He is not a starter. Hell, I would love to have Gardner Minshew as our quarterback. Let's make a trade in the offseason for him. Gardner Minshew has amazing stats. He's been on bad teams, but he has great stats as a quarterback. He's a good player and deserves to be a starter somewhere. I would love to have Minshew Mania in Atlanta at this point over anything that we have, unless we try Ridder and he turns out to be good. So that's just my thoughts on it right now. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It'll really help the channel grow, help me reach more people. I appreciate the 43 of you who have done that so far. It means the world to me, and I can't wait for future games to be able to possibly one day even live stream and do a bunch of other things that I think would be a lot of fun for this channel to grow and to connect with the Falcons fans out there. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today. Disappointing Sunday. But as always, what do Falcons do? Rise up.